Foreign Minister Winston Peters says New Zealand is concerned by and actively monitoring developments in Venezuela after US Special Forces captured its president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife. President Trump says the US will run Venezuela after the lightning military strike that resulted in Maduro forcibly taken to New York in handcuffs and blindfolded to face drugs and arms charges. But Venezuela's vice president went on TV to say Maduro was still president and Venezuela would not be colonised. In a moment, we'll be talking to an international expert on what all this means. But first, Adam Hollingworth reports on a dramatic night in Caracas.
From president to prisoner, all in 24 hours. The shuffling 63-year-old was running a country of around 30 million people. Now he's facing life in prison.
Good night. Happy New Year.
It began in the dead of night, a firestorm that flew in the face of decades of precedent.
What the
Airstrikes lit the sky above Caracas.
Amor.
150 aircraft circling above the sovereign state, some containing the American Delta Force, on an operation to decapitate what President Trump claims is a rogue narco-terrorist state. American missiles pummeled the Venezuelan capital's military installations before the daring raid to pluck from a fortified compound an elected president, elected in what was almost universally decried as a rigged poll. Hours before, Nicolas Maduro was glad-handing Chinese delegates in Caracas for the new year.
Año nuevo, porcelana nueva.
Then this picture posted by Trump from on board the carrier, the USS Iwo Jima, showing Maduro, his hands cuffed, his face blindfolded. And these pictures from New York showing a figure that appears to be Maduro gingerly walking down the steps from a plane, escorted by a stream of federal agents, ahead of a court appearance to face what the American Attorney General Pam Bondi says will be the full wrath of American justice on American soil in American courts.
Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II.
There's little detail about what happens next.
So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious because that's what we're all about.
No place, though, for the opposition leader and Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Corina Machado, whereabouts unknown, who today released a statement saying, "The time for freedom has arrived. We're ready to assert our mandate and take power."
She doesn't have the support within or the respect within the country. She's a very nice woman.
So Trump says for now the two men flanking him will be in charge, Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense or War Secretary Pete Hegseth. Not so fast, says Venezuela's defiant vice president.
We demand the immediate release of President Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores. The only president of Venezuela is President Nicolas Maduro.
She had a long conversation with Marco, and she said, "We'll do whatever you need." I think she was quite gracious, but she really doesn't have a choice.
Washington has had Maduro's regime in its sights for months, targeting boats allegedly running drugs while building up its own warships in the region. But Venezuela also has the largest oil reserves in the world.
We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country.
Just one New Zealander is registered on the safe travel site as being in Venezuela, and the advice here is not to go there. Foreign Minister Winston Peters tweeted, "New Zealand is concerned by and actively monitoring developments in Venezuela and expects all parties to act in accordance with international law." New Zealand stands with the Venezuelan people in their pursuit of a fair, democratic and prosperous future. Former Prime Minister Helen Clark posted it's hard not to conclude that the US intervention is a breach of international law. But Trump and his team don't appear to care what anyone else thinks.
He could have been living somewhere else right now, very happy, but instead he wanted to play big boy. And so now, he's got other sets of problems on his hands.
He effed around, and he found out.
By dawn, the cheers of Venezuelans echoed from windows in Caracas, but on the streets it's quiet, and the coming hours will be key. Members of the Delta Force captured President Maduro without sustaining a single casualty. And to underline the point, Trump says if necessary, he'll send in a second wave.